So, how much does it cost to get Mike Trout? Hello, YouTube. It's your boy, the Holy Grail. We are back with another video. This time, we are going to be talking about one person and one person only. This 99 Mike Trout. You may be thinking to yourself, you know what, Day, like this card looks incredible, but you know what? I don't know if he's worth it. I don't know if I can get him. Hold on. Because first off, this card is the best card in the game. You talk to everyone, Mike Trout's swing, fielding, and speed makes him a top player in this game. If you ask any of the top players, they will all agree that Mike Trout is a card that you must start, and a card that plays even above his attributes, even if they are absolutely insane. So today, I am going to teach you guys how to get Mike Trout in the easiest and fastest way to do it. A lot of things have changed. The market is in a completely different place than when this card was first released, and there's a lot of opportunities to get this card that may not be costing you a bunch in the long run. Now, with all that being said, this card is not going to be easy to get. This card is going to take a little bit of time. You're gonna have to play this smart, which is why we are going over this video. I'm gonna be showing you guys exactly what collections need to be done, how much they will cost, and the overall cost of Mike Trout. Yes, I have done the calculations, and this number may surprise you, but it is definitely a lot easier to get this card nowadays than it was when he first came out. So I'm gonna show you guys all the collections I went over and how to do them and in what order you should be doing them so you can end up with this 99 MVP Mike Trout. So if you guys didn't know, Mike Trout is part of a collection where you have to collect 15 vouchers in order to get him. There are more than 15 opportunities, but we're going to go over the 15 I believe are the easiest for you to get. So to start it off, there are 4 collections that you actually can do for free. And by free, I mean there are opportunities to get these cards through moments which will not cost you any stubs to do. It just will take a little bit of time. So for those, you have the monthly rewards card. If you do all the player of the month moments and you do those programs, it should be very easy to get all these guys and you get some stubs along the way. The next one is this cover collection. Basically, you only need to collect 2 of these, and by this point, you should have both of them already. You may already have all 3, but this is another free one. You can only get it through the XP reward path. So make sure you guys check to see if you guys have these cards, which is another free option for you. So that's 2. The third one, and which is crazy to me, is this postseason collection, which previously was almost impossible to get because a lot of these postseason cards were ridiculously expensive. But now we have a postseason program where you can get a bunch of these cards for free. You can actually get enough cards to do the collection by just doing the moments. So make sure you guys have these cards. Again, another free option. That's 3. The next one is the Tops Now, which again, you can all do through the moments. You do the Tops Now moments and you get packs to open and you get these Tops Now cards as a result. So if you collect 15, you get a voucher. Another easy option. And the last one I want to talk about is the Prestige, which is technically going to be free for you. Depending on how much you have played, you might already have 5 Prestige cards, but I'm going to call these free because all you have to do is grind out the game to get these Prestige cards. So this is another option and another one that I would encourage you to do. Although I will tell you guys to wait until we get these other ones, and I will tell you why in a second. So after the free cards, obviously you're going to have to spend a little bit of stubs to get these collections done. So I'm going to go over the easiest ones all the way to the hardest one, I believe, out of the 10 more vouchers that we need to get for Mike Trout. And the first one that I'm going to do is the Players League. So the Players League, there are about 4 of these cards. These 4 cards you can get for around 5,000, which means it'll be about 20k stubs. These next 2 are going to be around 25k each. You only need to get 6 of them, so that's a total of 65k for one of these vouchers. This next one, the vet collection, I'm gonna recommend next because it doesn't cost a whole lot of stubs at all. You can get about 8 of these cards, around 500. There are a few live series collections in Mike Minor, Robinson Cano, AJ Burnett, Adam Ottavino, Jason Erzinghausen, and Shane Victorino. There's also this Torrey Hunter, and there's also John Olerud, which is the Mets collection. You can also do the Jackie Robinson player program, which you'll get this 88 Jackie Robinson. If you haven't done it so far, I would definitely recommend finishing that Jackie Robinson program. And that's basically it. I calculated that you'll get around 8 of the cards for around 500. You'll do this at least 6 collections. There's another 4 of these cards for around 1k. Rollins is around 6k. You can find Nen for around 7k. And then a total would be around 21,000 stubs for this veteran voucher. The next one I'll be going over is the Breakout series. This one, again, is pretty reasonable to collect. You get 7 collection cards out of Mark Burley, Matt Williams, George Foster, Luis Gonzalez, Steve Finley, Brian Roberts, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Mike Schmidt. You might not have all of these, so there are also a couple player programs you can complete. Blake Trinan and Jorge Posada. And then there's also some reasonable cards to get, so you can get 6 of these cards for around 5,000. These first cards at the beginning, you can just sift through and see which ones are cheapest for you. You can get Vida, this 93 overall Vida, for around 5,000 now. This Ty Cobb's gonna cost you around 5k as well. Monte Irvin around 16k. You can get David Ortiz, Big Papi, for around 5k, and Tom Glavine you can also get for around 5,000. So total with those collections, I predict around 41,000 stubs for this breakout if you do some of the live series collections and you do the player program. The next one we'll be going over is the Signature series, and this one has become a lot more reasonable. You can get a lot of these pretty cheap on the market. There's 6 collections that you can get and a couple player programs. Win Encarnacion you get from beating a specific showdown. You get John Lester as a player program. You get Trevor Hoffman through the Babe Ruth player program. You get Hal Newhouser from an XP reward pack. You get Jim Edmonds as a player program. Jackie Robinson is a player program. Craig Biggio you can do through the live series, although that may not be reasonable. So there's also other options like Ryan Sandberg. And all you need are 8 of these cards. So you can buy a couple of these guys for pretty cheap as well. I figured it would cost around 96,000 stubs if you don't do these higher collections, such as the Craig Biggio, which is also going to cost you a lot more, and Jackie Robinson's going to take you a little bit longer too. But as we can already see, if you do this Jackie Robinson player program, you will get a couple cards that will go towards the collections. But you only need 8 for this voucher, which is why this one is the super easy one to collect as well. All in total, around 96,000 stubs though. This awards one is also really reasonable to do. The player programs out of this are Nelson Cruz, Justin Upton. You get Evan Longoria through the Babe Ruth program. You get Torrey Hunter as a player program. You get Anthony Rendon, again, another player program. Christian Yelich is one that is somewhat reasonable to do in the extreme, although I might not recommend this one. And of course, Tom Seaver and Babe Ruth are both from the Babe Ruth program too. But I'm not gonna guess that you guys have done all that. So there's a lot of other cheap options, like this Corey Seager Rookie of the Year. There's this Dan Murphy from the Ducks in the Pond pack. Same with Salvador Perez. Whitey Ford is very reasonable. Raleigh Fingers you get through the XP reward path. Zach Greinke, another Ducks in the Pawn pack. Andrew McCutchen you also find through Ducks in the Pawn, which is a very easy card to get. And this Barry Larkin and Corey Kluber, again, you can find in the XP reward path, along with Buster Posey. You may not have all these cards, but if you've done all the player programs, you can get McCutchen, Murphy, Perez, and Whitey for around 5K. There's about 5 of these cards that you would need as well for around 18,000 to give you a total of 110,000 stubs. The next one we're going to be going over is the Prime Series Voucher. This one, again, is very reasonable. There's a decent amount of collection and player programs in here. So I think I calculated around 6 collections they can get. It's Mark Reynolds being a program. King Griffey you get through the player program. Hunter Pence is also a player program. And then you have the collections. And then you have some more cards that you can get for free, which are the Reggie Jackson and the Mini Minoso, just through the XP reward path. You can also do Mickey Mantle, which is through the Live Series collection, although that might be a little harder. So there's a lot of nice options now through the Run It backpack. You can get Wade Davis. You can get this Curtis Granderson, Adam Wainwright, Greg Holland, Brian Dozier. And then you also have some cheap cards like Orlando Cepeda, Fernando Rodney, Dave Kingman, and Dennis Martinez, which you can get through, I believe, the Ducks in the Pawn pack, but they're going to be fairly reasonable. Also, Tyler Clippard, Matt Carpenter, Joaquin Soria, Elvis Andrews. There's a lot of these cards through the Run It backpacks, which is why I find this a really awesome option for you as well. So in total for the Prime, I calculated if you do these collections and player programs, you can get around 15K for Rodney, Hernandez, and Kingman, 5K each. You do that D-backs collection Reynolds, and then you have 9 cards for around 18K. These are all going to be the Run It pack cards, and that'll be around 162K total for this Prime Series. So the next one we'll go over is the Rookie Collection. In this voucher, you're going to need 20 cards, so this makes it a little tougher. But there's a couple cards that you get for free, including this Javi Baez, and a lot of cards that are really cheap, including this John Franco, Babe Ruth, Eric Davis, Craig Biggio. You get the Stan Musial, Ozzie Smith, Mookie Betts. And again, you do the Jackie Robinson through the Jackie program. McCutchen is through the Pirates Live Series collection. Oral Hershiser is pretty cheap on the market. Same with cards like Mark Pryor, Mickey Mantle, Ryan Braun is somewhat reasonable. There's a Honus Wagner player program to complete, and you also get Walter Johnson and Mike Piazza through Live Series collections. So if you get Hobby for free, 8 of these cards for around 8K, about 1K a piece. You get Mantle for around 5K. You do the Wagner program. 8 of these cards are going to cost you about 20K. So in total, this is going to cost you about 176,000 stubs. So this is almost over. We're going to go over a couple of the vouchers that are going to cost you a little bit more stubs, and I'll tell you guys why. So this Home Run Derby is going to be a little bit more expensive because these cards were a little bit rarer to get. There weren't as many packs out in the market, and a lot of these cards are actually really usable. I still use this Robinson Cano at second base. He has been absolutely insane for me, and probably one of the best second basemen in the game. So another thing about this is that you'll be collecting these cards, but you'll also be able to put them in your squad, which is an awesome aspect about this collection as well. So how I break it down, there are about 40K for these cheaper cards, all the way up to, I believe, Garrett Anderson. You can get for around 40K total. These 6 cards, you're going to need 10 total, so you're going to need to get 4 more, which are going to be a little bit more expensive, and those are going to be costing you about 280,000 for those 4 cards. So in total, it'll cost you about 320,000 to do this collection. Now that may seem like a lot. I promise you this is all going to be worth it in the end. So we've covered basically everything leading up to the face of the franchise, the team affinity, these prospect cards, and here is how I look at it. Okay, so it's going to cost you around 180K to get all these gold prospects if you haven't done team affinity at all. I'm guessing most of you guys have done some of the team affinity, so make sure you guys go in here and check what gold prospects you have. But if you don't have any, guessing it'll cost you around 12,000 to do the team affinity exchanges in order to get these gold prospects. I believe they're at 20 in the progression. So you get 30 of these for around 180,000 stubs. What you're gonna want to do is finish all those team affinities for those gold prospect cards. Make sure you do your collection, and then you want to go to the face of the franchise and look at what 15 face of the franchise or what teams you want to knock out. So you're gonna want to do 15 team affinity face of the franchise, which will cost you, if you just do the exchanges, will cost you around 450,000 total to do all the gold prospects and 15 of the face of the franchise. Then what you're going to want to do is go to the market and get some of these more high diamond face of the franchise cards. For example, this Jay Buhner is running for around 16 to 17,000. I calculated you could get 15 of them for around 20K, probably cheaper. But if you do that, you get 15 more face of the franchise off the market for around 20K in total. To do the prospect and the face of the franchise will cost you around 750,000. Now, I know that's a lot of stubs, but you also get 30,000 stubs for doing all those team affinities. You get 45 team affinity packs, and you get to use these higher team affinity face of the franchise cards, and you get to prestige them. All these higher diamond face of the franchise cards are prestigeable, which leads me into what we talked about earlier, which is the prestige voucher. You need to get 5 of them, so I would recommend using these cards in events. Use them on your ranked season squad and get yourself 5 prestige cards. Now, with all that being said, we have gone through all the ones I believe are reasonable for you guys to collect. It's not going to be easy. It's going to cost you some stubs, but it is definitely doable, and you're going to have fun in the process. You're going to get a lot of cards that you're going to want to try out, and some cards that may stick in your lineup well after you get this Mike Trout card. So, how much does it cost to get Mike Trout? Well, if we do all the collections from everything, we get the 176K from the rookie. We get 127K for the prime. We get 41,000 for the breakout, 21,000 for veteran, 60,000 for player league, 110,000 for award, 162K for prime, 96K for signature series, 320K for home run derby, and 750K for the team affinity / gold prospects. That will cost you a grand total of 1.863 million stubs. Yes, that is a lot, and I am not gonna act like that's not a lot of stubs, but you got to think about it how I calculated. I calculated this as someone who has never played the game at all. Surely if you have played this game a little bit, even a little bit, you guys have way more cards than I have calculated. So reasonably, I think it'll cost you around 1 million stubs, maybe less, depending on how much you've done. But I can promise you, Mike Trout is worth all those stubs and more. Ask anyone. This card is one of the best cards that has ever dropped in MLB The Show history. And you may look at the attributes and you say, well, this card, there's other cards out there. This Randy Arozarena just dropped. He looks like he's just as good. It's just not true. There is not a better swing in the game than Mike Trout. Ask anyone. This card is elite. He's worth every penny, and I recommend you get him because right now is the easiest time that you could possibly get him. That is going to be it for us today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned a little bit along the way, and maybe you feel a little bit more confident about getting this 99 Mike Trout. If you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. We are well on the way to 500 subs. I can't believe it, and I appreciate all the support. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You guys think Mike Trout is worth it? What do you think about the grand total that we calculated? I don't think anyone has ever put out a grand total of how much this card would cost. And I think I did a pretty good job of estimating. I didn't do the minimum. I did somewhere in the middle of what I would expect you guys to get for a fair market price. I will catch you guys next Monday. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And whenever you guys are checking this, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.